Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
Standing outside of the INDYCAR Autograph line with Jeff Gluck from The Athletic. First off, big fan of your writing and The Athletic as a whole. How you doing so far, and what do you think of Portland?
I'm doing great. I'm really, every time I come here, I tweet about not just here, but to an INDYCAR race, I'm tweeting about the autograph session, and I'm sure people are getting tired of it, especially my NASCAR followers and stuff. But I mean, there's a reason. It's damn cool. I mean, here you are. All you have to have it's a free autograph session for ticket holders, and I feel like here you have the championship contenders sitting there. They'll sign whatever. You have Scott Dixon, and every driver in the field. If you showed up today and you're like, man, I really want to meet this driver, you're going to see them. And coming from where I come from every week with NASCAR, particularly the Cup Series, the odds that you're going to meet your favorite driver, not that high. And I get that there's not as many people maybe at a NASCAR race or at an INDYCAR race as NASCAR overall. But Friday here today at Portland, there's a lot of people here. Yeah. I mean, there's probably, just rough estimate, probably 10,000 people here today right now. Yeah. Maybe more coming later. So it's doable. Yeah. But the reason is that they make them do it. I mean, it's something that they're used to doing. Yeah. Right now, if you went to NASCAR drivers, for instance, and said, hey guys, we're going to do a full field 1 hour autograph session every weekend, they'd be like, oh, they'd be like riot. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Some guys would do it, but a lot of the main guys, no way. They're not going to do that. So I think it's cool. You see a huge line. Yeah. It's great. I love seeing this kind of stuff. Yeah,
I love when we're able to do a live show next to the autograph session with the USF cars earlier on track. It didn't work out, but one of my favorite moments of an autograph session was at Circuit of the Americas earlier this year, and Joseph Newgarden really liked the shirt some fan had on, and they exchanged shirts in the middle of the autograph session, which was really wild to see and hilarious at the same time. So yeah, the autograph session line right now is, we're about more than halfway through it, and the line is still pretty long. So I know you cover a lot of NASCAR as well. To you, what are from your point of view, big differences on the IndyCar versus NASCAR side of things each weekend?
Well, I think the access here is pretty impressive. It's for a major racing series. I've done a lot of dirt racing recently, and you're not going to beat the access there because they open up the pits afterwards, and every fan can come down, and the drivers stand by their cars, and you could walk right into there. You still here. You're gonna have to pay for a paddock pass, but the kids are 12 and under are free, so you see a lot of kids here, which I think is really positive for growing racing. And then the drivers are very accessible, not only to the fans but to the media. We were trying to think about it earlier. Alexander Rossi, for instance, had a press conference yesterday to kick off the weekend at a hotel near the track. Then he had to do a championship contenders press conference this morning. So he's already done 2 media press conferences this weekend. And so if he's one of the fastest people today in practice, he'll have another one. If he's in the Fast 6 tomorrow, he'll have another one. And if he is podium in the race, he'll have another one. So he could potentially do 5 press conferences in a weekend. And there's not even that many media here. But again, going back to NASCAR stuff, and maybe that's too much. But going back to NASCAR guys, if they had to come in twice in a weekend, I think they'd be kind of upset or complaining about it. So I just think and I'm not bagging on NASCAR, it's just that's how it is. The drivers are used to a different way of doing things there. NASCAR's put in a really great media model this year where they are having the drivers do more, but even the drivers are asked to be being excused from stuff if they've already done something once in a weekend. So it's just here, I don't think Alexander Rossi loves coming in back-to-back days or twice in one day or something, but it seems like he does it. Yeah. You know what I mean? He goes through it. He's not this sucks. Maybe he says that privately, but it's not being relayed to the media. So I think that's one difference I see, is just the access and what they're used to and what they're accustomed to.
So we've got 2 races left. Joseph Newgarden has a decent lead, but obviously not impossible to come back at this point. Are you calling Newgarden as the championship winner? If you're going to make a prediction on who's winning the championship in just a little over 3 weeks' time, who are you putting your money on?
Well, it's tough because the double points in the last race is going to be that could really swing things. Even in that sense, Rossi's even not out of it. I think Dixon's out of it. I don't know. I know you never really want to count him out because he's got Dixon. Yeah, right. And like even here at Portland last year when he glows up in that cloud of dirt, you're like, well, he's done. He can come back from the dead. But I think it's pretty much Newgarden's to lose at least. He certainly has the advantage, and he probably has a mulligan to play with where he could still win it. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Pagano's had some magic at times this year. And Rossi, when you tell Rossi all you got to do is go win and not worry about points for 2 races, you know how aggressive he can be, and he's willing to just put it all out there, right? So
I think we saw some moments from Rossi in practice this morning where he was really willing it, and it was the first 20 minutes of practice even.
Yeah, it was like I thought they were showing a replay of him going off the track, and it was a replay of him like getting very, very, very close to doing that, but not quite. So he's clearly hanging it all out there. It's funny because yesterday in the press conference he says, well, it's not really that you're driving more aggressively, it's that you're taking more aggressive strategy risks or setup changes to try to get back in it. You pretty much drive the same level of aggression every weekend. But then, like you said, then he goes out and does stuff like that in practice. You're like, that certainly seems like you're taking it up a notch.
What you're saying and what you're doing seem a little bit different
right
now.
Right.
So let's see here. Check where we're at on time. It's been a pretty good IndyCar year. I think all in all, it's been a fantastic year. You've covered a decent amount of IndyCar races, I believe, at least since the Athletic started their motorsports coverage a couple months ago. Has there been one race this year that you look back and you go, that is easily the race of the year?
That's tough. Well, I don't know. There's been some good finishes, but this is such a cop-out answer, but I'm never personally going to forget the Indy 500 because that was the first race weekend that we did for the Athletic, and I had pitched a story on following the race winner through everything he did, from the time he got to victory lane until the time he left the track. And
it's a long day.
It was longer than I even thought it would be. But spending that much time with Pagano and just watching him go through everything and the exhaustion of, we were sitting there at the track, it was completely empty, and it's like the sun's setting, like everybody's left, and it's just him and a camera, and he's sitting up in the victory lane where they give the command to fire engines from. And he's doing like satellite media tour interviews with like, okay, now next is Dayton, Ohio and stuff. And those kind of images I'll never forget, just because I'd never been in that situation or seen that kind of thing before, like all they have to go through. So, and just the fact that it was Indy 500, a first-time winner, all the emotion going into it. And I think when you look back at that race, it sort of changed the storyline of the season, right? Like even going into Indy, even though he had won the Grand Prix there, everybody still wanted to give that car to Rossi before that. Yep. Simon wins the Indy 500. All of a sudden, next thing you know, he's up with Penske for extension. Rossi ends up not leaving. Yeah. And I feel like if he hadn't won Indy 500, even if he's driving well, I don't know that he would have kept the ride. I think maybe by now, like in those summer months, it would have said, all right, we've signed Rossi for next year, and he's a lame duck, maybe. So if he ultimately wins a championship, especially, I think the Indy 500, you look back on it and be like, wow, this was really a game changer.
Yeah, the month of May and Simon Pagano, he really put his foot down and said, I haven't forgotten how to win. I haven't forgotten how to drive. I'm sure even we said earlier this year, I don't know if he's going to get a new contract. And then he came out and said, screw you guys.
No, I mean, I remember in Long Beach when he qualified in the Fast Six, and it was kind of like, oh, good for him. You know, he did well, and he walked in and he was getting questions about it, and he was just like, I'm still here. I'm still here. I remember that, you know, and that's what he's done all year is say, hey, everybody, don't forget about me. I can still drive. Everybody wants to write me off, but here I am, and now he's still in the championship hunt.
So switching gears to talk about the rookies for a little bit here. One of the most impressive IndyCar rookie classes in my memory, not just from, we had a guy like Robbie Wickens last year come out and dominate, but this year we have Rosenqvist, who, despite all his years of racing experience, is still technically an IndyCar rookie. Santino Ferrucci has wowed almost everybody multiple times. Colton Hurd has won a race and won a pole. Marcus Ericsson, who's not here this weekend, had a podium finish and had a real good, especially good first half of the year. What do you think about the rookie class? You think we have a couple of these guys who are going to be long-term IndyCar drivers?
Well, I mean, it's really interesting how, like you mentioned, a lot of these guys have backgrounds, and it wasn't like IndyCar. I think Colton Hurd is different because it seemed like, he has the IndyCar pedigree, right? But the other guys, it wasn't like IndyCar was always their career goal or their first choice or something. They sort of ended up here. But the driving backgrounds they have has really made it strong. And you see the talent level. Like, I mean, Santino Ferrucci, before the Indy 500, had never driven an oval in his entire life. He'd never even been on an oval. And now you look at it and he's like, whoa, the risks and the moves he makes on ovals. Wow, this is amazing. Yeah. And it's like, so if he could keep that up, now maybe he's one scary crash away from saying, I'm going to back it down on ovals a little bit, But that those kind of eye-opening moments that you see from rookies and that talent's there, right? So and it's from several guys, whether it's Colton winning at Austin or whatever. So I think as they keep bringing in these great rookie classes who are really strong, you kind of wonder, where's it going to end as far as like the seats being open, like the guys being able to come up still? Because you still got some great. I mean, look at Oliver Askew and stuff. I mean, there's some guys who could really come up now, and what's going to be the room for them in the future as these great.
Yeah, but Oliver Askew, Rinus VeeKay, can easily jump up. If you look down a little bit further, Parker Thompson and Kyle Kirkwood, Rasmus Lind are all strong contenders. Even Stingray Robb, also with Juncos. All have had great road to Indy seasons and look like future drivers. So hopefully get some more teams.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice, right? And it's sort of the same thing that you're facing in NASCAR right now, where some of the good drivers, there's a lack of seats. Yeah. And, it's musical chairs in some ways. And in that case, when that happens, a lot of times money ends up talking.
Yeah, sounds about right. So thanks for some time today. We'll wrap it up with one final prediction. Your race winner for Portland is going to be...
This is tough because here you have a situation where last year, I'm pretty sure if you had gone around to everybody in this autograph line, nobody would have said Sato was going to win. Yeah. But the way the strategy worked out and the way the cautions fell and all that stuff, you end up having a guy that wasn't necessarily the fastest car the weekend ends up winning the race. So, I think when you're making a prediction, probably the safest thing to do is just go, okay, well, I'll just pick the guy who I think is going to be the fastest and then bank on the fact that normally the fastest car would win, barring some weird circumstances. I like the way that Rossi's being aggressive and going for it. I think he was second fastest in the first practice, which is all we have to go on so far. So I think I'll just go with Rossi and think that the strategy plays out straight and see what happens.
Yeah, that's who I predicted in our regular weekly episode, so I too am going to stick with Rossi. Again, Jeff Gluck, theathletic.com is where you can find all his work. It's definitely worth a subscription. They've got a bunch of other sports in addition to motorsports, so check it out, and thanks a lot, Jeff.
Cool, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad we got to do it in person. It's cool.